Since we're getting close to entering a new year where we all set New Year's resolutions and a very few percentage of people actually follow through on their New Year's resolutions, and I want you to be one of those few, I thought I'd share the 5-step process that I take whenever I have actually made a New Year's resolution come to life, become my new reality. And even if you don't know exactly what you want for this next year, I really believe that these questions are gonna help you figure that out. The first step is always to set a very clear goal, and it has to be specific AF, because the more specific, the more clear we become on what beliefs we gotta create, what self-identity we gotta create, and what actions we gotta take on a consistent basis to make that become our new reality. Before we chat about how you can be very specific with your goal, if you don't know what your goal is, something that can be really helpful is asking yourself, what's something that you're curious about? What's something that you loved to do when you were a kid? What's something that you're inspired by others who are doing? What's something that whenever you do it, it just makes you feel so damn good within? If you absolutely no limitation, what's something you would do? Just play around with that thought. My recommendation is setting a timer for 30 minutes and playing around with these thoughts, really just with 0 limit. And it's very possible that it's just aspects of these things that would actually bring you joy, that you actually would want to do. So play around with the thoughts and play around with what that could look like specifically for you. And then once you know kind of what it is that you want, you can play around with the SMART goal method to create the most specific goal as possible. It's not enough to just say, oh, I want to become more active, or oh, I want to hang out with friends more. No, what does that exactly look like for you? This is something I struggle with sometimes myself. So we're all in this together, guys. The second step to this process is developing the self-identity that you need in order to actually make this become your new reality. There is this saying that a human cannot take consistent action that doesn't align with who they deep down believe themselves to be. So we gotta practice, start believing that we're capable and worthy of all of these big dreams that we have for our life. And something that's really helped me doing that is like put down on paper, what do I currently believe about myself? And how has that helped me back in the past to actually achieve these things that I wanted? And I realized, oh, it's really because I didn't believe I was worthy or capable of doing the things. And so I had to shift that and turn those limiting beliefs into new beliefs that would actually help me push forward towards the things that I wanted in life. And of course there's like affirmations and vision boards and daily journaling on our goals and like writing these things about ourselves down. And sometimes that can still be a challenge to really like embody. So something that also has helped me imagine that I am someone who is capable, who has already accomplished that thing, like embody the emotions, the beliefs about themselves that they have, and use that inside of my body. And then eventually, when I have done that enough, it becomes a part of me and I start developing my own version of that, turning it into my own. Maybe give it a try. Now, the third thing is create a very clear action plan. I was at the Summit of Greatness, and one of the speakers there told us that with diluted focus comes diluted results. So if we have a very clear goal, then we can also set a very clear action plan. And whenever I have accomplished something in the past, it's like been me taking the big massive goal and breaking it down to very tiny small steps. Like, what does that look like on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, on a daily basis? What is the step-by-step process that I need to take to get there? I feel like when I am not really sure of what the next step is, when I'm not really sure of the correct plan I need to take, it feels overwhelming. It feels like it's so much harder to actually go for. But when we're very clear on the next move, the next step, it really does become less overwhelming and just easier to go to and continuously take action towards. So highly recommend. I'm just walking around our villa in Bali as I'm making this video, and I've never been down this path. So let's go down this path and talk about step number 4, which is all about creating the right habits and routines to actually set ourselves up for success, to make this thing happen. So for me, my daily habits, for example, is like I need to have my morning routine where I journal and meditate, to use that clear space of mind that I have in the morning to motivate myself, to remind myself of my goals, remind myself of what I'm grateful for, because otherwise it can be so easy to stay stagnant and kind of like just live or survive, almost like just go about our day rather than like push the frick forward. And I also have a to-do list that's very, very important to me because there's so many distractions in this world, isn't there? And I feel like when I have a to-do list, it's just easier to get something done, click it off, move on to the next. Otherwise, like, especially because I work a lot on social media, you know, those things can easily take up time that we could have spent more wisely, something that is more in alignment what we really deep down want for our life. So I also just quickly want to share before we get into the last and final step that I actually think is the most important, which is the step that like most people went because they failed the last step. That's why their New Year's resolutions never actually become a reality. But first, I just want to share that I released a video a few days ago and I had just arrived in Bali and I was sleep deprived because of jet lag. I was a little stressed because I was trying to figure out work and family balance, and you could clearly tell in the video that I was out of balance. And I wanted to mention that, and I wanted to share that video because I think it's important to remember that the journey is not always going to be perfect. Sometimes we are going to be out of balance, but if we have the right tools and do our best and try to listen to our body, try to journal and figure out the cause, give ourselves the things that we need, the more we practice that, quicker and quicker return to our balanced, good feeling state of being. But if you are at some point in your journey off route, feeling a little bit out of balance, a little bit overwhelmed, frustrated, whatever it is, know that it's normal. Everyone goes through that. Even the most successful, most beautiful human people in the world go through that. And I just think that's important to remember because we see other people and we think, oh, they just have their life together. Like, I can preach all I want about this like goal setting thing, but I'm learning just like you are. We are all on a learning journey in life. Okay, now I'm done rambling. Let's move on to the last and final step. But this is kind of actually related to that, so we didn't go too far off. Because the last and final step is all about trusting the process. I feel like this is where a lot of us fall off because we feel like we're working so hard and so consistently towards something and then the thing just isn't happening. But as we all know, like, good things take time, and usually breakthroughs happen right after a really maybe dark or challenging period. Not always, like sometimes it comes easily, but a lot of the time, like, that's when the good stuff happens. That's when I see those miracles. It's actually after a hard period and then me surrendering, being like, okay, whatever you got for me, I'm ready for it. I surrender my plans. I let it all go. That's when it happens. And I feel like there's different things that help me personally stay really grateful on the journey, enjoying every part of it. And that is things like my morning routine, listening to podcasts, reading books, my vision board, walks in nature, having really good supportive people around me. And even if I don't, then listening to motivational speakers share their struggles, share their processes, their journeys, so that I know I'm not alone in it. That's really useful. So hopefully you're willing to add some of that into your day-to-day if you at any point of your journey feel like you're starting to feel either lost or frustrated or just like it's not working out. If you feel deep within your gut that this is something that you need to keep doing, keep pushing through, because that breakthrough is waiting for you. Of course, there's also always a time to quit, but know and practice figuring out when are you quitting because it just is not serving you, it's not aligned with where you want to go long term, and when is the quitting because it just feels a little bit out of your comfort zone, a little bit challenging. And also when that is happening, something that really helps me is asking myself, if this were easy, what would it look like? And sometimes then the easiest solution pops up and then everything just like goes back to into flow. I hope that you found these little 5 steps useful. I appreciate you so much for being here. If you want to hang out with me some more, please hit that subscribe button. And if not, I completely get that. I just hope you go out there and crush your goals and know that you freaking do anything that you put your mind to. Don't ever forget it.